This question is asking about the domain of an exponential graph. And specifically, if you look at the very last sentence here, it says, what is the appropriate domain for the model, keeping the context in mind? And that's going to be the most important part. So let's read through this description very quickly and then talk about the domain. Maybell built an exponential graph to model the growth of a savings account over time. The bank offers a strong 6% growth rate, but only allows for this growth during the first 10 years. The x-axis represents the number of years since the account was opened, and the y-axis represents the value of the savings account. What is the appropriate domain for the model? All right, so the y-axis is the value, so that's the amount of money that's in there. And then the x-axis down here is number of years. All right. Well, remember domain stands for valid inputs. Okay, so domain means what inputs, what x values could you put in here. If you just look at the graph, you can see there's a lot of x values down here. It goes from 0 all the way to 15 shown in the graph. But they want you to keep the context in mind, and they want to know the appropriate domain. So if you look at the options, you have a, 0 to 10, you have all positive integers, all negative integers, all real numbers. There's two that I can immediately cross out. And the reason is, when I'm talking about a domain, especially for years, when they mention all negative integers or all real numbers, which includes negative numbers, you can't have negative number of years. I can't say, oh, I wonder what the value of the account would be in -5 years, right? You're going to the past, you're going backwards there. It doesn't really make sense. So I'm crossing off C and D in this case. You're left with two answers, A or B. They both sound okay. But the key word here is you only get this growth rate during the first 10 years. Okay, remember that? First 10 years. So that's where this graph is relevant, from 0 to 10, and that's the answer.